They say some loves never really end. They just wait for the right time to begin again. And that might be exactly what's happening with Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban.
To experience in our 40s, and he's got 2 little girls, so it's a big life for him now. And I'm just so glad to have met my mate, you know, the person that kind of protects me and loves me.
After all the heartbreak, the quiet tension, and the rumors surrounding their split, new reports claim Nicole would get back with Keith in a heartbeat. When I first heard that, I had to stop and think. After nearly 20 years of marriage and a very public divorce, could she really still want him back?
And barely 4 months into our marriage, my addictions that I'd done really nothing about blew our marriage to smithereens, and I went into the Betty Ford Center for 3 months. 4 months into a marriage, I'm in rehab for 3 months with no idea what was going to happen to us. And if you want to see what love in action really looks like, give that a whirl.
Apparently, yes. And honestly, the more I looked into it, the more I understood why. Because for Nicole, this wasn't just another Hollywood breakup. It was the end of a life she truly believed would last forever. What do you think? Can love like that ever really die? Let me know in the comments. According to sources close to the couple, Nicole was completely blindsided when Keith decided to end things.
They'd been together for almost 2 decades, working through problems just like any couple does, and even trying to get it back together, according to insiders. But then, suddenly, Keith pulled the plug. The decision shocked not only fans, but Nicole herself. She'd stood by him through career highs, personal struggles, and everything in between. She thought they were healing, but apparently, Keith had already made up his mind. Even though Nicole ended up filing for divorce, people close to her say her heart still hasn't fully let go. And that's where the story takes a turn. Because even after all that pain, all that violence, all that distance, she's reportedly still open to reconciling, as long as Keith hasn't completely moved on.
That still makes me very happy. He cried, she cried. I mean, when do you get to have your wedding photograph on the cover of People magazine? That really was an extraordinary day. I remember being in Sydney and driving down the street, and there was such a sort of...
She would get back with him in a heartbeat, one insider told the Daily Mail. And those words say a lot. Because despite how composed Nicole seems in public, there's clearly still a deep emotional connection she can't ignore.
But here's the thing. While Nicole might be open to trying again, rumors are already swirling that Keith could be seeing someone new. And that's what makes this whole situation even more heartbreaking. People close to Nicole say she's devastated at the thought of him moving on. That would be the one thing she couldn't handle. They say she's trying to stay strong for her daughters, Sunday and Faith, but behind the scenes, this has been one of the hardest times in her life. You know that feeling when you're trying to act fine on the outside, but inside everything hurts? That's what this sounds like. Since the split, Nicole's made several public appearances that made it seem like she was doing okay. She was at the MFAR Dallas auction, looking stunning as ever. 2 days later, she was in Paris for Fashion Week with her daughters by her side. She even posted a throwback photo on Instagram celebrating her film, To Die For. From the outside, it looked like she was thriving, confident, composed, unstoppable. But if you listen to the people close to her, the truth is very different. They say she's been struggling privately, holding on to hope that somehow Keith might change his mind. And honestly, who could blame her? After 19 years together, it's not something you just walk away from overnight.
One of the most emotional things in my life. And subsequently, I've had 2 little girls with this man, so... Oh my gosh, there we go. We find happiness. We're coming up to 20 years of marriage, actually. Yeah, kind of crazy, right?
But here's what's even more interesting. This emotional distance between them didn't happen suddenly. Looking back, there were subtle signs that something wasn't right long before the divorce became public. Back in August, during an interview with Vogue, Nicole gave a response that now feels like a quiet cry for help. When asked how she felt about life in her 50s, she didn't talk about wisdom or peace. Instead, she said something that hinted at uncertainty. She said, "How many times do you have to be taught that you think you know where your life is going, and then it isn't going in that direction?" At the time, no one thought much of it.
I suppose I just don't think about it much. You know, I have a pretty normal life. I have an extraordinary creative life, but when I come home, I have a pretty normal life. And I'm a mother and a wife and a sister and a daughter and all those things. So there's a lot of places that I get grounded, you know?
But reading that now, it almost sounds like someone already trying to make sense of a love slipping away. And while Nicole was quietly dealing with those emotions, Keith seemed to be expressing his own, but through his music. In his song Straight Line, released earlier this year, he sings about feeling stuck in a cycle. Why we living every day in circles, just burning out. I don't want to just go through the motions, going round and round. It's taking us down. When I first heard those lyrics, they sounded like a typical heartbreak anthem. But after everything that's happened, it's hard not to hear the pain between the lines. Keith even explained the meaning of the song in an Instagram post. He said, "Straight line is wanting to break out of a soul-sucking routine that you might be stuck in. Maybe in a relationship, a job, with yourself. It's about feeling alive again." Back then, no one realized he might have been talking about his marriage. Now, though, it feels like a message, maybe one that Nicole didn't see coming. Do you think he was trying to tell us something? Or maybe even trying to tell her? No matter how you look at it, it's clear that both of them were fighting quiet battles long before the world knew. And yet, after everything, Nicole still seems to hold space in her heart for him. That's the part that makes this story so emotional. She's not angry, she's not bitter, she's just heartbroken. And maybe that's what makes it so relatable.
There is no perfect. That's the truth, right? I think when you're aiming to be perfect, that's when you get in trouble. When you go with the flow, and as Bria says, I don't want to be the perfect couple. They're sort of getting classified as that, but as you see the curtain drawn back, you're like, oh my God.
Because sometimes, even when someone hurts you, you still wish things could go back to how they were before everything changed. But love isn't simple, especially when fame, distance, and pride get involved. Even though Nicole might want to give it another shot, Keith's next move will determine everything. If he confirms the rumors about a new woman, that door might close forever. But if he stays single, even quietly, fans can't help but wonder if there's still a chance. And that's what keeps this story so fascinating. Because no matter how many headlines we see, there's still a sense that their story isn't over yet.
They've already agreed to co-parent their daughters together, and that bond will always tie them. But could it also bring them back together emotionally? Maybe? Nicole's always spoken about love in such a pure way. She once said that when she loves completely. That's probably why this has hit her so deeply. Even after everything, she still believes in the power of connection, and that says a lot about the kind of person she is. Do you think she should reach out to him or wait for him to come back first? I'm curious what you think, because if history tells us anything, love like this doesn't just disappear. Sometimes it breaks, it bends, it pauses, but it doesn't vanish. So maybe, just maybe, this isn't the end of Nicole and Keith's story. Maybe it's just a painful pause before something unexpected happens. And if what insiders are saying is true, that Nicole would take him back in a heartbeat, then maybe there's still a part of her that believes in that miracle. Only time will tell if Keith feels the same. But for now, one thing's for sure. Nicole's not ready to close that chapter completely. And honestly, maybe that's what makes her human. Because even in Hollywood, with all the lights and fame and glamour, love still hurts. And sometimes, it still hopes. What do you think? Will they ever find their way back to each other? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this story is far from over.